David Proctor, come on up front. Oh, hello. Welcome back. It's so good. Oh, come on. We need to, yeah, boy, 2.5 years. If you saw me, I was up here and I was counting. And the reason why I was trying to take a count is because we had an advisory council meeting yesterday, and we're trying to figure out how many people are actually going to show today. And we didn't know, so we kind of pared it down. As if you remember, 3 years ago, we used to do a lunch, and we had the volunteer lunch, and we did a lot, but we really didn't know what was going to happen. So it's good to see you all. I feel like it's old friend week or something, seeing you all. So anyway, thank you for coming out today. I'm counting around 100, maybe 125, a far cry from when we used to have like 400 plus. But, this is COVID. So if you don't know, I'm Deborah Herman. I'm the OLLI director, and it is so good to see you all. So thank you for being here. I see our Capitol Health representatives are out in the lobby. Does somebody want to get them and tell them they can come in? Let's chat a minute. I want to recognize them. They are sponsoring our event today, and it's good to have them back. They used to sponsor our event years ago, so I'm so glad that they're here again. And here's Tony Renee. Please come front and center. I asked somebody to go out and get you because, you are sponsoring our event, and I want you in here so I can recognize you. So as I was saying, it's wonderful to have our partnership back again. It's been a while, so thank you again. And they, of course, are our CHP representatives, Capitol Health Plan, and they have some new things going around, so, new things afloat for CHP. So if you haven't talked to them yet, you may want to. Maybe not for yourselves, but maybe for family members. So instructors, boy, it's good to see you in person. Thank you for being here. Some of you are new, some I've met already or know, and others we don't know. That's always the fun thing about each semester is we have professors, instructors who come back from time to time, and then we always have some new blood coming in, which is great. So thank you for being here. And I also want to thank the volunteers. Our volunteers do so much. They work tirelessly, selflessly through COVID, trying to make events happen. A lot of events were online. We had Zoom club meetings. I don't think you walked via Zoom, but they were out and about with masks out in the fresh air. But our volunteers don't get recognized enough, and I want you to know that all of us, we really appreciate everything that you do. If you're out there in the atrium, you see all the work that they put into their events. And this year we have, I think, 21 tours and activities, which is a lot for the fall. So when you join OLLI, you not only have access to the fabulous classes that we have, but you have access to the clubs, and the clubs are free. Laura Morris will tell you about her club, I'm sure, and she has her Spanish club online, but the other clubs are in person. We have these activities, and they're just so much fun. So partly we come together for OLLI because, we want to be mentally stimulated, right? And there's no homework and there's no tests, so that's fabulous, right? Who wants all that? And but we need the friendships, and if COVID has taught us nothing, COVID, I think, has taught us a lot, because I know how much I've missed seeing people that I knew over the years. I was on, and Terry and I were on every single Zoom class. Sometimes we were on 8 a day. We were pretty zoomed out, but, you know, we saw you, but it wasn't quite the same. But you know, it's important. Friendships are important. And being together in social events and just camaraderie, going on a tour together to Johnson's Meat Company or to Peter's Chocolatier or wherever. It's just so wonderful. At this time, I want to introduce staff who I know you will likely come to know when you're with Ollie. So if you don't already know these people, let me introduce them to you. And our Tallahassee Area Program Coordinator is Terry Aronson. Terry? Yay. And our Ollie Business Associate is now Mary Beth Trevoletti. Mary Beth? And our Learning Coordinator for the Panama City 38 area is Lisa Jefferson. Lisa. So, you know, between staff and volunteers and our executive committee, our advisory council, we all work together as a unit, and we kept it going. So even though we've been apart for 2.5 years, here we are. But we know COVID is not over, right? But we do seem to be entering into a new normal. So as you preview the list of in-person courses, please pay attention to any COVID protocols that may be in place at various locations. So if you're taking a class, and today is only the in-person instructors, okay? So there are 10 Zoom classes as well, and I'll get to that in a minute. But at Westminster Oaks, if you decide to take a class there, they have their own protocols. If you're not a resident, you must check in. You can park in the garage, walk through the lobby with the mask on, and then go to the front desk, and they will actually take your temperature, and if you have none, although I know with COVID you don't always have a temperature, but they will give you a sticker, and you should wear that. And then you walk back through the lobby, and you can enter the McGuire Center, and they say as long as you sit 6 feet apart, you can take your mask off. And that goes for the instructors as well who are there, because there was some concern about that. At Red Hills Village and at FSU in the Pepper Center, there are no mandates, so if you feel comfortable wearing a mask, please do, okay? And this information is also in the catalog, which is online, and it's also in the registration area when you go to check in on Friday to see what classes you may want to have. So just be aware of that so you're not surprised. So as I mentioned, besides the 20, we have 20 in-person classes, which you will get to meet most of the instructors today. So we have 20 in Tallahassee, and we have 4 in Panama City 30A. There are also the 10 Zoom classes that I mentioned. Some of the Zoom instructors have sent in their videos, and they are or will be posted on our website. And this showcase today is also being recorded, so for those who chose not to come out or couldn't come out, that will be posted hopefully on our website later on today. And so you can look for it again there if you'd like to. Now, on the back of your agenda, okay, which you're holding hopefully, you will see the classes in order: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And so you know what people say, well, I know exactly what I want to take, and then they come and hear the presentations and they end up switching. Pressure, instructors. I know some of you get very competitive. I've seen it happen. All right. Unfortunately, there are a couple in-person instructors who could not be here today, Dina Ramsey and Arlene Pabone, but they are teaching. But there is one instructor who had to pull out, Danny DiPetroangelo. He was teaching a photography class. You ought to be taking pictures. He unfortunately had to withdraw last minute. Hopefully we'll be able to see him again in a future semester. And let's see. And finally, before I get off the stage and you come to see what you come to see, which is our instructors, there was or is a postcard, which I no longer have. Can somebody hold up a postcard? What? Imagine that. All right, so you saw one of these on your seat. We have to, we're in the process of rebuilding, and since COVID, so we would greatly appreciate if you would take this home with you, take a few, if you see some on empty seats, give them to your neighbors, your friends, family members, please, 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 because we want other people to know about OLLI and what it is that we do, and we're such a lovely organization, don't you agree? So we need to have people come out. All right, and we really thank you for doing that. Instructors, you as well, okay? You have one on your seat too, so you're not excluded. All right, so now let me call up our newest OLLI president, Jack Mapstone, who's looking around. Yes, Jack, it's you, who I know you will enjoy getting to know through this year. Jack, come on up.
Yes, at this stage, I need a little cheat sheet. Okay. Well, I want to say welcome. This is a nice crowd. I'm happy to see all you smiling faces out there. It reminds me, kind of a story about Julius Caesar. Now, it may not be the most accurate story, but I think you might enjoy it. So, Julius Caesar was going to make a speech, and he was up on the stage. As he walked up to the podium, some guy out in the crowd, he's all pumped up, and he says, "Hail Caesar!" Caesar didn't have a microphone in those days, so, he gets to the podium, kind of a wry smile on his face, and he says, "Hail yes!" Now, it's almost kind of made me wonder whether Julius Caesar was actually born and raised in southern Italy. But, I don't know. What I do say hail yes to is getting this thing going. So we have an exceptional array of fall classes and presenters for you folks this afternoon. Let's get this party started. May I please have the Monday and Tuesday presenters come up on stage. Yeah, we'll start on this end and go.
Okay.
Down.
Hi, I'm Christy Brightwell. I'm the Aquatic Data Coordinator for Imperiled Species Management, or ISM, at the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, or FWC.
Hi, I'm Ashley Levere, and I'm an environmental commentator also within ISM. And today we've actually brought with us a manatee skull. and a green sea turtle as examples of things that we're going to be talking about in our course, such as, do you know how a manatee grows its teeth? Or what makes a green sea turtle green?
So join us and learn more as we dive into these two iconic species biology, discuss their ongoing research projects to learn more how to protect them, and the management efforts taken to reduce conflicts between these species and people.
All right, so during 3 2-hour in-person sessions in October, we will teach you the importance of conserving these species, and you'll leave with the knowledge on how to be an informed environmental steward in Florida beaches and waterways.
Buenos días. Yo soy Laura María Teresa Graciela González Santa Maria Morris. Delighted to meet you all. I'll be teaching 2 classes, and I love Ollie, so I love to teach Ollie. And I have a beginning class, and that will be in person. I'm delighted to be in person because we haven't done that for a while, so this is very exciting for me. It will be at Red Hills Retirement Village, and it's going to be on Tuesdays from 9:30 to 11:30, and you can always stay for a wonderful lunch there. And then I have an advanced class. It's on Monday from 1:30 to 3:30. Now, the beginning class, I have to address to the people who are out there. I know you're out there. Don't hide. People that have been saying, I really need to take Spanish, but I just don't have the time, or whatever. Okay, there's never a perfect time. No, the perfect time is ahora. That means now. Okay? So I really encourage you to take class. It's not going to be, rote stuff like you did in high school, and we took it 4 years and can't say a word. I will be teaching speaking. In other words, we'll be conversing. You'll be conversing the first day. Now, I know some people don't believe me, but anybody who's taken the class, know better. Okay? It's very exciting to be able to speak into another language. Basically, you go from world to world, and it's just fabulous. And they say, oh, I'm too old, or no. Don't want to hear any of that, because it's not true. Okay, the students that I've had through the years have been wonderful. And once they take it, they say, I love it, I wish I'd done it sooner. You've seen those commercials that say, why didn't I do this sooner? Well, now is the time, folks. So this is basically a class for students who either don't have any Spanish background at all, or maybe had some, but they really didn't learn anything, and they really want to improve their skills in a very friendly, informal kind of way. Okay, because we have a lot of fun. There's a lot of laughing going on in our classes. Okay, so I want you to give it a try. And also, Debbie mentioned I have a Zoom class that is called Spanish Club. You saw my little table out there. And basically, that's a 1 hour on Fridays from 10 to 11. And it's on Zoom. So it's just a conversation class. Some people join it just to listen, because you can understand a lot from listening, or they want to converse. So if you want to sign up, I'll send you a link and you can join in or not. And that goes on all the time. That's something special that I do. And the advanced class is designed for people who have a pretty good working knowledge of Spanish, but they want to keep it, use it before they lose it. And so they want to continue their language and increase their conversational skills. Yeah, we will be doing different tenses, but we won't be doing crazy grammar. We'll be doing a lot of conversation. So the whole idea is to be conversant, to be comfortable, and to enjoy what we're doing. So with this, I say, please join us. You will really be glad you did. Muchas gracias. Hasta luego.
Hello, my name is Dr. Toni Kirkwood Tucker. I'm a retired professor from FSU, retired that is. My class will be held on Mondays from 2 to 4 at the Red Hills Assisted Living or Retirement Home. Mondays from 2 to 4. My class will consist of 2 topics. The first 3 weeks, I will teach about the rise and fall of the Berlin Wall. Und ich habe gerade gedacht, vielleicht sollte ich das auch auf Deutsch unterrichten. I just thought maybe I should teach it in German, since our friend here. But it's become a little weak over those 50 years I am in this country, so I prefer English. Anyway, I'm setting the context for the building of the Berlin Wall. This is post-war, post-World War II. Germany is in chaos. Millions of refugees bombed out cities, over 50,000 orphans, and prisoners of war. They are the retreating Wehrmacht, the German soldier who surrendered gladly to the armed forces. The Allies at that time, England, France, Soviet Russia, and the United States, divide Nazi Germany into 4 occupational groups, sectors, I should say, including the city of Berlin. Well, that did not go so well because the Americans, the Berliners were hungry, including the Germans in the rest of the country, and food was hard to get. The Americans shipped in and flew in supplies of food and coal because the winters were cold. Well, Soviet Russia did not care for that. And in 1948, they actually blocked the supply lines, and the Berliners were stuck with hunger and cold. The Americans came and flew in their planes with tens of thousands of food to rescue them, to help them, including one famous flyer who dropped candy for the Berliner kids. Wonderful, the double mint gum story that I will tell you about. Again, the tension between Soviet Russia and the Western Allies increased. And by 1948, by 1961, the Berlin Wall was created. Over 800 miles, not kilometers, miles of a Berlin Wall was constructed along the border. The East Germans, of course, were very unhappy. Many were separated from their families. Please let me know when my 2 minutes are up, because I have another, huh? Well, you're almost out of your 4 minutes. Almost out of my 4 minutes. Then I better stop. Okay, anyway, so now we are erecting the Berlin Wall. We learn about the conditions in East Germany, and ultimately, thanks to the Protestant movement of the churches in East Germany, the Berlin Wall is torn down, and we actually identified the individual who was the first to open the gate. That's the first 3 weeks, but now I make it quicker. I'm sorry. Okay, my time is up. Okay, then I just say the second 3 hours are about Anna Eleanor Roosevelt, the great First Lady in the United States, wife of FDR, who contributed greatly to the United States in multiple ways. Thank you. I hope you will join me. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm David Powell. My OLLI course is Early Cuban Exiles, Memories of Loss, Struggle, and Rebirth. It's about the 600,000 Cuban exiles who came to this country in the first 15 years after Fidel Castro took power in Havana. They came in 2 massive waves from 1959 to 1973, and they laid the foundation for the modern Cuban-American community, which changed the economy, the culture, and the politics of our state. To understand them and their story, I interviewed 54 persons who either participated in or witnessed the beginning of the Cuban diaspora. 4 of them were from Tallahassee, and they may be friends of yours. Sylvia Alderman, Carlos Alvarez, Rick Fernandez, and Deanna Sawaya Crane. The 54 told me about what Cuba was like before Castro took power. They talked about the changes that he made after he came to power. They talked about how and why their families left, and they talked about what happened here after they got here. Those interviews formed the basis for a book I wrote earlier this year, and they're the backbone of my OLLI course. It's a great story because it's a story about ordinary people caught in a struggle between powerful historical forces over which they have no control. It's a story about America at its best, not perfect, but as the land of refuge and opportunity that it's always been for oppressed people from around the world. And it's a story that shows how refugees will strengthen America if we let them. It's a story that is continuing today. This year, 200,000 Cubans will come to this country. That's how dire circumstances are in Cuba. They are the number 3 nationality group crossing our southwest land border. So it's no exaggeration to say that the diaspora that started in 1959 is continuing. My course tells how and why it all began. The course will be Tuesday, October the 4th and 11th from 9:30 to 11:30 in the morning at the Red Hills Village Retirement Resort. I hope to see you there.
Good afternoon. My name is Chuck Wells, and I'm going to be teaching a 3-part class at Westminster called Tallahassee Takes Off, Dale Mabry Field. I am not a pilot. The jacket that I'm wearing is designed to honor a special generation of aviators at the turn of the century who, through action and deed, could proudly proclaim that they were pilots made of steel, flying planes mostly made of wood and canvas. And in 1929, Tallahassee made a big bet. We hear about big bets all the time. They made a big bet, and they built a municipal airport to try to take advantage of this emerging field of aeronautics made possible by those aviators, but it was unproven. And that airfield was called Dale Mabry Field, and it was built 3 miles west of the Capitol, where Tallahassee Community College sits today. The world was changing rapidly, and the rise of fascism in Europe and around the world was stoking the tinder of a fire that would lead to a world war. And our American strategists at the time knew that air power was the future of war. And they endeavored to build the greatest air force the world had ever seen. And in 1941, Tallahassee participated in that mobilization when they received a contract to build Dale Mabry Army Airfield right here in Tallahassee, and it changed Tallahassee's future. In this particular course, you're going to learn how luminaries of aviation like Dale Mabry himself, Lindbergh, Earhart, and even the Tuskegee Airmen connect to our local history. And you're going to learn about how Tallahassee took off because of Dale Mabry Field instead of going the way of the dodo bird. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Mark Schlackman, and I serve as Senior Program Director for Florida State University's Center for the Advancement of Human Rights. And Doug, increasingly long ago and far away, I had the privilege of serving as special counsel to Governor Lawton Chiles, and was a senior advisor in the Clinton White House in the Bush administration State Department, and took a step back to Florida by way of Naval Air Station Key West as a special assistant to the chair of the Joint Chiefs. These OLLI classes are always something that I look forward to. The level of discussion and interest is palpable. You draw upon all of your own backgrounds and experiences, and the way that we proceed in any forum is to challenge all narratives and the sometimes, often more than not, distracting terms left, right, center, upside down, sideways, wherever one might be on the political grid or not. We unpack the issues that relate to the course so that there's space for divergent views and meaningful discussion, not in any way to try to shape how people think. I also enjoy OLLI for a number of other reasons. Looking out just across our group today, fellow instructors, Deb and Terry and all of the leadership, and then former colleagues. I mentioned the Child's Administration, seeing Doug in the audience, and many whom I know and respect. Looking across the way, you'll probably be hearing from him shortly. Judge Terry Lewis, the epitome of integrity on the bench. So this is really a remarkable community, and I could go on about familiar faces who have taken a number of classes, and many faces I haven't had the privilege of engaging with yet. All right, well, before Janet gets the hook and pulls me off before I say anything about either class, let me go. That's also something I look forward to, how to kind of navigate Janet's, red light saying you're finished. So I may be getting there momentarily. Two courses. And these are 2 mini courses, meaning 3-week instead of the 6. They're in person. They're both held at the Red Hills complex, and both on Tuesday afternoon, same time. So they're back to back. And the first of the 2 courses is Great Decisions Fall Discussion Forum. As a number of you may be familiar, Great Decisions resources are produced by the Foreign Policy Association. Very credible, just trying to identify a range of different viewpoints on challenging foreign policy issues and implications, not exclusive to the United States, but certainly involving the United States. And this is more or less the informal extension of the Spring Forum, because each year they produce, even COVID, like everything, was impacted, but generally they produce their new materials, new discussion topics for release every spring. So the Fall Forum has some flexibility to take on issues, emerging issues of the day within and drawing upon these resources. I'm getting the 20-second warning. So NATO. NATO will be in that same time frame, and the course caption may explain where we'll be headed. NATO, its seeming emergence in and around Ukraine. However, it's been there all along. And so we take a look back to its establishment. Now I'm seeing red light. So I asked Janet before I started, what happens if people ignore the red light for a minute? So you may see this play out momentarily. But she talked about throwing projectiles, and but no, seriously, I can wrap in 5 seconds. So we take a look at the history of NATO through 9/11, when actually NATO invoked its mutual defense clause on behalf of the United States, remarkable, up to Ukraine. So both courses should be intriguing within the span of those 3-week segments. Janet, I didn't. That's what I was going for. Perfect. Seriously, thank you much.
Ladies and gentlemen, come this way, please.
Remember what I said?
This time, Thank you. May I have the Wednesday class presenters come to the stage, please? If you would, it would be appreciated.
Hello. Ooh, that's loud. I'm Melody Morrison. I'm a PhD student in piano pedagogy here at FSU. Pedagogy is just a fancy word for teaching, so I'm getting a degree in teaching piano, which leads me to what I am teaching for Ollie. I'm teaching the introductory group piano course. And you might be someone who, took piano lessons a long time ago when you were a kid, and you're like, oh, I wish I would have kept those up, but it was too boring. I didn't feel like practicing, and I totally get it. I'm not a fan of practicing either. Or you might be someone who always wanted to take up piano, but it was too intimidating, or you didn't have the time. So if that's the case, this course is for you. We're gonna have a lot of fun, and you'll learn that piano does not have to be intimidating or scary. And by the end of our class, you'll learn how to, read notes. We'll be playing chords, some simple repertoire, as well as playing some familiar pop tunes, some folk tunes as well. So like I said, we'll have a lot of fun. And by the holidays, you'll be able to show off to your friends and family all your piano skills. And we will be Wednesdays 9 to 11 in the Kellogg Research Building, and it'll be a 6-week course. So yeah, hope to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you, Ollie, for putting showcase in the title, because showcase starts with shh, and I'm here to tell you about a course that is top secret. Shh. In 2024, Tallahassee turns 200. My name is Ben Gunter. I'm the Artistic Director for Theater with a Mission, and I'm here to talk with you about Tallahassee Turns 200, a course that starts on Wednesday, October the 5th, and has 6 excursions into early Tallahassee from 9:30 till 11:30 in the morning in the Broad Auditorium in the Pepper Center. Let me give you 3 secret reasons why this course might be attractive to you. Shh. They all start with S and H. Number 1, strategic historians. We'll be looking at histories like Malcolm Johnson's Red, White, and Blue Bloods in Frontier, Florida, a book that's been out of print since 1976. Shh. Great secret strategic historians. We'll also be inviting in special friends. Friends like, for example, Misty Penton, the tasked traditional storyteller from the Muskogee Nation of Florida, who will be giving us a Native American perspective on early Tallahassee. Special guests like Heidi Coddington, who is an expert in the reconstruction of dances from territorial Tallahassee. Special guests like Beth McGrotha, who actually has researched the recipe for the gingerbread that Martha Washington served to the Marquis de Lafayette in 1824. Third, SH. This course is seriously hands-on. There is a syllabus for all 6 of the excursions, but we will also be sharing your own stories, and we will be shaping this course to your own interests. So, shh. Keep it a secret, but come to us on Wednesdays in October for Tallahassee Turns 200. Shh.
Okay, I'm canceling my class on Wednesday, and I will. So that was amazing. So my name is Marina Brown, and I am also teaching on Wednesday from 9:30 to 11 at the Pepper Center. I will be succinct and not get caught by the lady with the red light. But so I am a writer. I write for the Tallahassee Democrat. I've written for other newspapers. I write for Tallahassee Magazine and 850 Magazine. I've won awards for my poetry. I won 3 gold medals for novels, and most recently, Book of the Year for the Florida Writers Association. So writing is something I love to do, and other arts. And I would guess that there are many of you who are gifted not only in one art, but maybe in others. And so that is what I will be talking about in the course that is called Writing Inspired Fiction, Nonfiction, Short Stories, and Poetry That Won't Embarrass You, which is a real challenge for many of us. So writing fiction can be dangerous. It's different from writing a letter, certainly different from a quickie email or even heartfelt poetry. Instead, writing fiction, if you're lucky, may be closer to lion taming, the kind of activity that goes on when imagination, like a roaring beast, threatens to pull you and whip you and confuse you into writing words that in the end may just end up on the kitchen floor in a pile. Or writing fiction can be closer to fishing, sitting beside a stagnant pond, dipping your writing stylus up and down and crossing your fingers that an idea will bite, when only later do you learn that somebody forgot to stock the lake. So in this course on writing fiction that won't embarrass you, I want us to not only look at the nuts and bolts of producing a worthy product filled with good grammar, perfect spelling, correct syntax, and POV, but also to examine the dynamic structure and armature upon which you build your tale, the internal structure that will hold your words, and also the weird and wonderful places that you can go for inspiration. I hope for us to examine the stocking of your literary pond and look at those ideas and experiences that are turned by your mind into stories and characters, and to see you also go to those hidden places that are often avoided, but which give urgency and a lived reality to your tale, and also to venture to the fantasies found at the edge of sleep when we allow the strange and unlikely to run freely through our brains. And finally, of course, with great love and care, we will run our stories through the gauntlet of good writing technique, the editing, the cropping, the transplanting, until you can proudly say, "It is mine." So please do join me, and you can bring your own stories. We'll have a look at what you're working on now and what you produce while we're together. Thank you.
And I'll say I know Marina very well as a writer. I've read her stuff. It's very good, but she's also a very good visual artist and a very good dancer. She's a Renaissance woman. So I recommend her course. You'll learn a lot. My name's Terry Lewis, and the course is called Perceptions of Justice. It's going to be at Westminster Oaks on Wednesdays from 9:30 to 11:30. And it is an interactive course. I will not be so much teaching this subject as I will be facilitating a discussion, helping you come to your own conclusions about a variety of questions about justice. Starting with, what is it? How do I know it when I see it? Is it strictly subjective? Or are there objective criteria we can apply to see if justice has been done? If there are, what are they? And how do we balance it when those criteria are in conflict? What's the relationship between law and justice? And what do we do when our idea or our concept of justice conflicts with what the law requires? This is, I guess, organized under 3 themes. They're very interrelated and overlapping, but I call them foundations of justice: law, justice, and morality. We look at what are some of the great thinkers through the centuries have said about it. Does that give us any help? With no sense in reinventing the wheel, but we'll take or accept it, whatever you want. Second one is what I call eye of the beholder, and that is, why is it, this is probably the most important question of the course in my mind. hence the title, Perceptions of Justice. Why is it that I can look at a given situation and say the result was fair, and you look at it and say, no, it wasn't? Why is that? And so it's an introspective thing. What is my concept of justice? How do I come to that? Why do I differ from other people? And I look at it sometimes, law as a protector or law as an oppressor. Different people have different perspectives on that. And finally, a section we call Framework for Justice. And that's basically how do we organize ourselves in this country to try to achieve justice? I call it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What's good? What's bad? What's ugly? Are the things we can tweak, change, throw away, whatever. So an idea of looking at that. For the most part, we will use film clips and short stories as starters for our conversation. And I do that because our stories that we tell ourselves are just chock full of themes of justice. I don't care what you look at, it's there all over the place. Art imitating life, life imitating art, and they tell it in a very entertaining and compelling way. So that's why I like to use it. So what that means is time's up. That's what that means, is we'll have a lot of fun while we're talking about some serious stuff. So if it's interest, see you on Wednesdays at Westminster. Thank you.
I feel like I'm at a soccer match when they get the yellow card or whatever it is. I want to thank Ollie for doing this, number one. I think this is a very worthwhile cause. A good teacher is always a better student, and I think that's what personifies what we're doing here. My name is Jerry Walls. I'm a naturalist and educator and teacher, and my program is called A Walk in the Woods. That name is kind of deceptive because we're not going to be doing any walking in the woods. It's an interactive, fun, and educational series of programs on nature. Our country and our world is experiencing nature deficit disorder, especially with children. And I know we're not children. I hope we still think like children and have an open mind. But we are losing a society to nature. People don't get outdoors the way they used to. When's the last time you saw anyone climbing a tree? I don't recommend some of us old people climb trees. But, you know, we're just losing touch. There's a real disconnection. So I am trying to reconnect people of all ages with nature. And my programs are on Wednesdays at the Pepper Center from 12 noon until 2 p.m. And topics include reptiles and amphibians. Oh, by the way, I know that other lady brought a dead turtle. I was going to bring a live snake, but I know we're trying to build Ollie, not get people to leave. So I didn't bring any of my 40 live educational ambassadors. But reptiles and amphibians, the Seminole Tribe, Animal Tracks Nature Detective, arachnids, insects, bats, which is called Going Batty. That's my, and you will laugh. Got to learn one thing at one program. I'll get in the yellow card. 20 seconds. Sweat starts coming now. Bats, going batty, invasive species, and camouflage, and how all those things depend on each other and affect us. So the real stars of the programs are the animals. You know, we don't have a zoo here, and I bring the zoo to you. So, but I want to thank Ollie for this opportunity. I'm getting a red flag, so thank you very much for being here. Stay safe and hope to see you on Wednesdays at the Pepper Center from 12 until 2. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Daryl Myers. I'm teaching a course called History of the Earth, Geology, Climate, and Life. It meets here at FSU at the Pepper Center on Wednesday afternoons, 2:30 to 4:30. And right at the beginning, I have to say that, you know, it's just this little secret between us. This is a fraud. I have no professional credentials in anything like geology or paleontology or biology or anything like that. I do know a lot about this. I've been studying it off and on as an amateur for my entire life. I do know something about telling stories to make it interesting. I have a master's degree in history from here at FSU, and I teach history classes at Tallahassee Community College. There's my chair in my department over there in the corner. I'm sure he's marking things down in his book to judge me later. So if you've ever wondered things like, how did the solar system get here? Where did the Earth come from? How did life get started? Where did the dinosaurs come from? Why aren't they around anymore? I will try to tell a lot of stories with illustrations, maybe a few charts and graphs, but I'll try to, I'm not going to get into a lot of technical stuff, but I will explain some things as we go along, but it'll be a lot of interesting stories, more or less in chronological order, about the history of the Earth, this planet that we're all standing on right now. Look forward to seeing you at the Pepper Center on Wednesday afternoon. Thank you very much.
My name is Kurt Peeler. I've taught, this is my first time teaching in Ollie. Hopefully my course will fill. But I've taught adult education for a number of years, and one of the things I treasure about adult education, besides a very engaged student, is I don't have to grade papers or read exams, having just come off of 2 days worth of reading drafts of my students' papers for survey. It was a virtuous thing to read their drafts, but it was a little bit of a daze. I'm a scholar of World War II. I just finished a book on a religious history of the American GI in World War II. And one of the things, when I say what's still to be learned about World War II, the importance of religiosity, for example, this war completely changed the relationship of the military and religion. It's the first time we took religion seriously within the military. I'm partly teaching this course to really promote, even if you don't take the course, I would love you to visit the American Soldier, www.2.org. Again, it's American Soldier, www.2.org. I was on the advisory board for that project. And that project took over 40,000 uncensored, anonymous writings of GIs. The Army surveyed soldiers of what they thought on everything, whether they preferred Coke or Pepsi, to what they thought about race, what they thought about their allies, what did they think about combat. And GIs could write whatever they wanted anonymously. And so even if you don't take the course, you should, if you have some inkling and interest in World War II, I think you'll find what these GIs write about. And I warn you, there's a statement that says there's a lot of incorrect stuff in here. There's a lot of racism, but there's also a lot of people saying this racism is awful. There's a lot of misogyny. It's a fascinating what they thought. I'd also, one of the issues we'll talk about is the American response to the Holocaust. And I particularly will look at, hopefully some of you, if you take the course, will look at the Morgenthau papers that have been digitized on the FDR library. But very much looking forward, again, to teaching in Ollie. And again, even if you don't take the course, do look at the Morgenthau materials or the American Soldier Project.
May I have the Thursday classes, please come to the stage.
Hello, my name is Stephanie Archer, and I'm a PhD candidate here at FSU studying music education and piano pedagogy. And I love to teach people to play the piano, and I love teaching for Ollie. So my class is Group Piano Lessons Level 2, and it will be held on Thursdays from 11 to 1. That's 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the Kellogg Research Building, just down the street here. And this class will be geared towards those who already have a little bit of experience playing the piano. You don't have to have a lot. I'll accommodate a wide variety of abilities. If you've already taken level 1, then this will be building on what we have previously done in that class. We'll cover a wide variety of genres, maybe a little Beatles, a little Beethoven, and everything in between. Students will also get the opportunity to kind of work on individual projects as well. So if you have something you have always wanted to play, this could be a great time to pursue that. Now listen very carefully. There are only room for 7 people to take this class because we have a lab set up with 7 keyboards. So if this should be the first class you sign up for so you don't miss your spot. Okay, so I would love to see all of you there, but obviously that's not realistic this time. But I hope to see 7 of you this fall.
Who's got the gong? You got it? Okay. My name's Dave Davis. I teach history, my department chair out at TCC. What we'll be talking about here is the history of greed, which has started with Cain and Abel and really progresses through Genghis Khan, through Adolf Hitler. We're talking about that, but what we're going to do, look at is what is greed? First week or so, we'll be talking about greed. What are some of the definitions? What's the Bible say about it? What did Shakespeare, Milton, and others say about it? But then beyond that, we'll start looking at what really are the elements of greed. Primarily, we'll be looking at money. We're looking at things from beginning from barter all the way through coins, paper money, and then fiat money we have today. We'll be looking at the absolutely essential part of banking. Banking is one of those things you've got to have if you're going to be greedy. If you want to, we'll be looking at some specific examples. I'll be looking at greed in the New World. As Europeans come here, we'll look at how the Native Americans were greedy and they destroyed their wealth, the fabulous wealth they had. We'll look at the Spanish, how they began to pillage Central America, took the silver back to Spain, and promptly became poor. We'll be looking at, we look at that, we'll be also looking at how start looking at the sugar development of sugar in the in the New World, and the greed that was there that then resulted, or was one of the causes of the slavery situation we have in the Caribbean. One of the interesting things they have is something called Beyond the Line, where what you do beyond the line is not constrained by any of the moral constraints you have in Europe and law like that. So we'll be looking at some of the things that are driving people to go beyond the line and make greed really an acceptable way of doing things. Then we come to the 20th century, and we'll be looking at things like Bernie Madoff and his crash and his Ponzi scheme. We'll be looking at the Enron disaster and looking at that. Charles Hurwitz, one of the truly great, despicable men in the world. We'll be looking at what he did to the redwood forest in California. And those we'll be looking at, then we'll look at the big greeds. And I'm out of time. Okay, and so we'll be looking at that, say at 87, and then the greed of the 20th century. But anyway, Thursday, 1:30 to 3:30 at the Pepper Center.
Over there, send the word over there, that the Yanks are coming, the drums rum-tumming everywhere, so prepare. All right. Hey, after Ben Gunner, I had to do something. All right, welcome OLLI participants. Listen, if you were my students, you'd all be edging nervously toward the door. But you're OLLI participants, so you know exactly what I'm talking about or singing about, which is World War I. We're going to do a World War I overview, and I think if you look at the world today, authoritarian nationalism, the Russo-Ukrainian war, hello, there are a lot of echoes and remnants and all sort of things left over from World War I. You might be surprised. So if you want to find out not only about World War I, but how the legacy of World War I affects today, you need to pack your little kit, show your grit and do your bit, and show up at the Pepper Center on Thursday evenings, October 6th. Your draft notice is in the mail, and we'll see you then.
Okay, I've got a loud voice. Can you hear me in the back? Yeah. All right. So, I'm Courtney Mycotts. I'm Associate Professor of Art History at FAMU, and I'm sorry I was late and I didn't know where to go. But I was rushing because my last class let out at 2:15, and I'm so excited to teach for Ollie for the first time. So thank you for having me. So my class is Thursday nights from 5 to 7, and they're in person because I like props. Okay, so I brought some props today. So one of the topics we're going to talk about is collecting and connoisseurship. Can you tell the difference between the two? Which one is the tourist one? How many say this one is it? Raise your hands. How many say this one is it? Oh, this is the one. That's my collection. This is from the collection in our fine arts program at FAMU. They let me borrow it today. But this is kind of how I do my classes. I mean, I'll have some PowerPoints and all, but I like to have props. I like to have discussion. I like to talk with you about your ideas around African art and culture. So if there's something you wanted to ask about Africa but was afraid to do it, you can do it. You can ask me. So I am over at Pepper Center as well, and there's 3 classes in October and 3 in November. They're not cumulative, so if you accidentally miss one, you're okay. And we'll talk about a number of interesting subjects, I hope, to you. I look forward to meeting you. Thank you. Packaging is a clue, right? Mine gets a paper towel.
Bruce?
Ladies and gentlemen, my job is to close this meeting. But before doing so, I have some thanks to offer. First, thanks to our instructors who took your time out to come here and in 2 minutes or less, tell us all about what you want to teach us. And you did a good job, even though it took a few lights to do it. Right? I also want to thank our staff, Terry Harrison and Deborah Herman, who I know have worked very hard to put this showcase together, along with some volunteers. I want to thank the volunteers who have also spent their time putting this show together. I thank everybody, the volunteers, staff, and of course, the instructors have all done a good job. Don't you think so? Good. Now you're probably really excited about registering for one of these wonderful classes. How do you do that? Several ways. First, if you have a catalog, turn to page 25. And there you'll see you can register online, by telephone, or in person from 10 o'clock Friday the rest of the day at the Pepper Center. That's 3 ways you can register. And then on your way out, there's a registration table, and some ladies there will be happy to give you some information on registering if you'd like to talk some more about doing it, particularly for those of you who are first-timers, who have not registered before. It's like anything else, it's a process, and you'll get used to it, right? Okay. So, having said all that, I'm going to say this Ollie Showcase, the fall edition, is now adjourned, but, know on your way out, the registration table is there. It is being manned by three ladies. And there's the, we call it a Navy to degunt table. Anyway, with water, tea, and some chips and cookies. I believe there's still some left. Please help yourself to that. And some of the registration to other tables, activities, clubs, or still have people there. They'd love to talk to you. So we're adjourned, but take your time. Really, take your time leaving and enjoy yourself as long as you like before you actually leave. Okay, thank you.